What's up, guys? KAMIKAZE-FOX coming to you from International Racing League IRL F1 2019 on the PS4 platform. This is round 14, China Grand Prix, as we wait for a couple of other drivers to join up. Just going to get a couple things situated here. We got a lot of news and notes to go over, so I missed last week, unfortunately, so I want to throw a shout out to Sondre Sorhaug and Matthew Alder for filling in for me. They are IRL F2 drivers, or F1 drivers, I should say. So they filled in for me to do some F2. That was round 13 at Singapore, where Jack Yates picked up his second pole position of the year, but he wasn't able to hang on to it, while Jared Fosbury was able to come home first. That was his second win of the season. Chris Rock making his debut from PTRL, that's the Portuguese Racing League. Chris Rock came home second. Harry Cooper came home third with his fourth podium of the year. Jorge Correa, crowd favorite, came home fourth. A great run last week by James Yacht to come home fifth. Paco Suarez sixth. Andre Zaz came home seventh. Andre Pastana was eighth. And then 9th through 12th was all DNFs, unfortunately. Looks like it was Dane Ward came home ninth. Unfortunately, it was his debut as well with a 9th place finish, DNF. Jack Yates, championship contender, had a DNF as he finished 10th. Luis Wassman finishes 11th with a DNF. And newcomer Oscar Meyer, I'm not 100% sure how to say his last name, but unfortunately it was his debut as well, and he had a DNF also. That was round 13 at Singapore. And a couple of other notes that we want to go over. I don't know what was talked about 100% last week. But with Jared coming home first, that really tightened up the championship point standings. Kevin Harrison is still your championship points leader with 191 points, but Jared Fosbury was able to close in that gap a little bit down to, he's got 177, and Jack Yates, even though he had a DNF, still sits in third with 162. The only other heavy hitter right now would be Eric Pettington, who is actually not participating full-time this season, so the races that he has finished, he has really capitalized on. He will be racing today, but he is currently sitting 5th in points with 94, so he could be a little bit of a spoiler for some of these guys. As we move into round 14, we're going to do an 18-minute qualifying session followed by a 25% race. We'll run down the driver lineup here in just a second. Still trying to get a couple of things situated here. And we've got Lewis Marshall chiming in on the live chat. F1 driver and SRL F1 driver, Lewis Marshall, who begged and pleaded to have his race ban lifted for SRL yesterday. Sorry, Lewis. Rules are rules, buddy. Lewis Marshall contending for the championship in SRL. Very fast driver, for sure. There's a good chance he may be able to lock that up moving forward with SRL if he can make all the races this year. So 12 drivers today, and 12 drivers, I've said a lot. Short on car count does not mean short on action. If you don't believe me, go back and watch round 8 or 9. What was it? Australia, we only had 8 cars. It was round 11. Australia, we only had 8 cars, and that fight went all the way down to the checkered flag as to who was going to win that race. So Nexus Aspect is going to be Kevin Harrison, and Fishy is going to be newcomer Shay Fox. Paco Suarez will be in the Mercedes. That's Speedy Suarez, as you can tell. EFL F1, that's Eric Pettington. Luis W34 is Luis Wassman. Nexus Iceman is Jack Yates. F3Y1HD is last season's Formula 1 champion in IRL in F1 2018. That is Felix Negwer. And unfortunately, he was not able to, due to time constraints, he's not able to make the F1 races this year. He tried making as many as he could and thought better of it, so he has moved down to F2. Razor Varuz is also a newcomer. That is Wei Liu, who is from Norway. He made his debut at round 12 in Japan, where he came home 6th. TNR Steph is making his debut today. That is Steph Christensen in the factory Renault. Nexus Clone is championship contender Jared Fosbury. VTR Venom, he also made his debut back in Japan. That was round 12. He came home with a pole position and a win that day. And then Harry Cooper is in the other McLaren. And Cooper has 4 podiums on the year. He'll be in the other factory McLaren. So 12 drivers today. And Lewis saying he did some commentary yesterday with Sam in SRL. So that's good. That's one thing I can definitely say about Lewis Marshall. He is a great guy to have in the booth. He's got some really good car insight. So that's always a good thing to have. And Codemasters has given us audio for this race. That was very nice of them. I wonder if they finally fixed that bug. So there is Fishy with that very unique helmet design. You'll be able to pick him up from a mile away. Shay Fox in the Red Bull today. He is a reserve driver, so he's not always going to be in the Red Bull. But clearly, a lot of guys didn't show up today. In fact, 2 of the 3 major championship contenders, Kevin Harrison didn't make it. And actually, Jack Yates did. So Jack Yates could really capitalize on this. Now, Kevin Harrison's here as well. Why are we missing so many drivers? Alfa Romeo team is here. What am I looking at? I'm looking at Ferrari. We have a lack of Ferrari drivers. So the big 4 are in the race today. That's going to be Kevin Harrison, your points leader in the factory Renault. Jared Fosbury in the McLaren. And then Alfa Romeo teammate Jack Yates, currently 3rd in points. And then Eric Pettington, who's currently still sitting in the pits. Now, Pettington's only 4th in points. He only has 94 points. But it has to be said, he hasn't made every race this year, but the races that he has made, he's pretty much walked away with a win. We've already got sector flags flying. But Eric Pettington has missed quite a number of races this year. In fact, going back, it looks like the last round he was in was round 10 at Abu Dhabi at the Yas Marina, where he did walk away, unfortunately, with a DNF. Now, Pettington's got 4 podiums on the year. Three of them being wins. So he's got 3 wins and a 2nd place finish to his credit for the season, and that's where the bulk of his points have come from. And VRT veteran, that is Matthew Collins. As I said earlier, he made his debut back in Japan, had a pole position and a win. He's the first one to set a time with a 1:33.031 in the Racing Point. Looks like he's on the hard tires as well. So he sets his first time on hard tires. I'm sure he will not set his fastest time with hard tires, unless that is a part of his race strategy. You see a lot of guys switching between softs and hards. No use of the mediums, it looks like, just yet. And Jared Fosbury comes across the line. 1:33.165. Oh, and Felix Negwer, I'm sorry, that's Negwer that comes across the line. 1:33.165. Good enough for 2nd. Fosbury was a 1:33.318. And Shay Fox coming across the line, 4th quickest so far. 1:33.556. Paco Suarez a little bit off the pace. 1:34.725. Luis Wassman coming across 1:31.105. Now, Suarez set his time on the soft tires, and can't tell if he's on a fast lap with Jared Fosbury or not. And Lewis Marshall making a little bit of a joke there. The inside joke there being that it was China, I think, is where Lewis Marshall unfortunately picked up his race ban due to actions on track with another driver, Cameron Weston Edwards, who is not in today's race. But it was because of those on-track actions that Lewis Marshall had to miss yesterday's SRL race. See, Suarez goes by Fosbury. And Suarez dives into the pits. as does Jared Fosbury and the Renault. So 7 drivers have set times so far. Still waiting on times from a few of these other heavy hitters here. Kevin Harrison looks like he might be out on a hot lap. I'll put up the lap data here. Going through the last quarter now. No, he's going to dive into the pits. Got Eric Pettington on an out lap. Looks like he's out on the hards as well. And Harry Cooper. Team McLaren, it's a couple of real strong drivers there, Jared Fosbury and Harry Cooper. We'll ride along with Eric Pettington as he just comes across the line to start his first hot lap of the session. 10 minutes left to play. .24.4 through Sector 1. Still waiting on Jack Yates to set a time as well, and Kevin Harrison. The 2 Alfa Romeos haven't set a time yet, but Jack Yates has said all week that China is one of his worst tracks. And Jack Yates is usually very short on words during interviews. Next is Iceman. He takes the whole Finnish Kimi Räikkönen thing a little too far, if you ask me, but Jack Yates did state that he doesn't like this track. It's one of his worst tracks. Could it be a ploy to give some of the other drivers some confidence and maybe be one of his best tracks? Or waiting to see if he'll set a time, see where he's at. China, I think, is one of the more racier tracks on the F1 circuit in comparison to some of the newer style tracks that they've had come out in the last few years. And then this big, long back straightaway, hard on the brakes as he dives into the hairpin. Gets a good run out of that hairpin. Car with a little bit of a wiggle. He's going to go through the last corner here. Runs it a little wide. And he is going to come across the line. 1:32.601, 4/10 quicker than Matthew Collins' time. So Eric Pettington to the top of the charts and on hard tires. And now you see a lot of these guys are out on out laps now. These have all switched over to hards. Suarez is still on softs. Kevin Harrison and Jack Yates finally, and Harrison is the only driver to put on a set of mediums. So he looked like he might be trying to run an alternate strategy for the race. We'll pick him up. There's your championship points leader, Kevin Harrison in the Alfa Romeo. Now, Team Alfa Romeo has walked away with the Constructors' Championship. They are very well far ahead of Team McLaren. It's like 353 points compared to like 208, something ridiculous like that. So, Constructors' Championship is pretty much locked up. And Andre Zaz chiming in on the live chat about Jack Yates, about his lack of words, but how he loves to complain about how bad he is when he's actually really good at most tracks. So probably looking for that again today. Jack Yates is on an out lap. Actually, he's on a timed lap now as we pick him up here in Sector 2. Also got Cam Bill-Hoon chiming in on the live chat. He looks like he was rooting for Luis Wassman and Lewis Marshall rooting on Felix Negwer. So a couple of fans in the stands, as they say. So here comes the Iceman. He comes out of that big sweeping right-hander. You want to get a good run out of there. Down this very long back straightaway. It's like 3/4 of a mile or something ridiculous like that. Smooth transition back onto the power. You hear a little bit of wheel slip. And Jack Yates is going to come across the line. Good enough for 4th. 1:33.182 set on the hards. Will pick up his teammate Kevin Harrison. He's now on the backstretch. And fishy to the top of the charts. That's Shea Fox with a 1:32.430. set on medium tires, and here comes Kevin Harrison. He's also on the mediums. And way off the pace, Kevin Harrison, 134.501. I'm sure he's got more speed in the car than that, so very disappointing run there for his first hot lap. So the only two drivers yet to set a time is Steph Christensen and Harry Cooper. Pick up Felix Negwer, but it looks like he's off the pace a little bit. We're going to go back to Kevin Harrison because it looked like he was ahead on his sector time as he just went through sector 1. I think he's still on a hot lap here. Yep, certainly still on the gas. Big sweeping right-hander coming up. You want to get a good run out of here. A little bit of a twitch in the car. Looks like the car wants to oversteer just a little bit through that big sweeping right-hander. He might be struggling with some rear-end grip on the car. And he's going to dive into the pits. All that effort and then to dive into the pits. So 4:39 left to play in the session, and here comes Eric Penton, who sat on your provisional pole for a long time until Shay Fox came across and set a 1:32.430. Now Shay set his times on medium tires. Eric's fastest lap was a 1:32.6 set on the hards. And it looks like he might be out on the hards again. Penton's still out on hards. So fresh set of hards, and he's going to see if he can get back that pole position. Big downshift there heading into that corner. You can hear the high revs on that hybrid V6. Jump way up in the rev range. Went in deep, just a lot of engine braking on that one. All quiet on the western front as Penton comes across the sweeping right-hander again onto the backstretch. Hop on board just for a second here. Got a lot of guys in the pits here who are going to make some last-minute adjustments. 3:15 left to play in the session. And Steph Christensen is finally out on track on his out lap. So we'll pick him up after his teammate here, Eric Penton, comes across the line. Yellow flag in sector 2, and Penton to the top of the charts, 1:32.311, and he calls it a day. He says, that's fast enough for me. So does anybody have anything for Eric Penton at a 1:32.311? The closest driver, Shay Fox, and he's out on softs. So Shay Fox is going to switch up his strategy here maybe just a little bit. And I said we'd pick up Steph Christensen. He hasn't set a lap yet. Looks like he's getting ready to head out onto the backstretch. Not really boogieing too hard down the backstretch here. Looks like he's still trying to get the car up to temperature. It was about 189 when we jumped off board there. So he's on the medium tires. He hasn't set a time yet. So 2-minute warning, less than 2 minutes to go in this qualifying session. We're going to jump on board with Steph Christensen as he's about to set on his first hot lap, see if he's got anything for these front runners. His teammate Eric Penton just came across the line a lap ago, 1:32.311, to take provisional pole and called it a day. Now he set his time on hard tires. And everybody's out on a last-minute out lap now. Harry Cooper finally coming out of the pits. Sat in the pits the whole time, comes out on the 2-minute warning. He's currently the only driver besides Steph Christensen here to set a time, and Christensen's coming up on some lap traffic. These guys are going to stay out of the way, they're going to speed it up. Steph appears to have a very good smooth driving style, nothing too crazy in the way he's working the wheel, or car doesn't seem very darty, seems very planted. The car head weaving, trying to get some temperature in them tires, so that's somebody on an out lap. And you can tell he's on the gas now, 207, 208, almost 209 before he's got to slam on the brakes at the end of this backstretch. And we've got a lot of cars on out laps. We've got somebody off there, that's one of the McLarens, it's Harry Cooper. And Pettington's going to come across the line, not Pettington, Steph Christensen's going to cross the line. 132.556, good enough for third so far. And Shay Fox is in the pits at a 132.430, so nothing going on there. Does anybody have anything for these drivers? Qualifying is done. So Shay Fox locked in at a 132.430. We've got a lot of drivers still on last-minute out laps. We're riding along with Matthew Collins here in the racing point. Felix Negwer in the Ferrari still on an out lap. He's half a second up on his previous time, so that would put him into the 132s. Jack Yates right behind him. Oh, and Paco Suarez retires from the session. He'll be good enough. He'll be locked in at 133.796, which is only good enough for 9th so far. We're watching Felix Negwer make a last-ditch effort to try and improve his time and position. So here comes Negwer across the line. 133.241, takes provisional pole from Eric Pettington. Matthew Collins coming out of the hairpin now. Jack Yates getting ready to come across the line. Yates, good enough to take pole position, 132.165. Here comes Collins across the line. And Collins goes to the top of the charts, 131.731. Harry Cooper comes across the line, 132.239, so Pettington is now dropped from provisional pole down to 5th. And Steph Christensen, I don't think, was really on a hot lap, so he'll come across the line. So, Steph, who came across the line second on his previous hot lap, thought he was good enough and drops all the way to 9th. So here's your starting order. This is Matthew Collins with his second pole position of the year, followed by Jack Yates, Harry Cooper, Felix Negwer, Eric Pettington, Jared Fosbury, Shay Fox, Wee Lou, Steph Christensen, Kevin Harrison, Luis Wassman, and Paco Suarez. So great qualifying effort by some of these guys. Collins, who again made his debut at round 12 in Japan with a pole and a win. Can he do it again here today? It'll be definitely interesting to see what these 12 drivers are about to mix up for us. It looks like Pettington and possibly his teammate, I didn't catch it, it was a quick glimpse, but Pettington, he's the first driver to start on the hard, so he will definitely be on an alternate strategy, and you saw how quick he was with those hard tires. So this could get really interesting here on the opening lap. Got Andre Zaz and Jared Fosbury and Lewis Marshall all chiming in on the live chat. So great qualifying effort by Matthew Collins to come away with that. Now the top 4 drivers had set their times on medium tires. Eric Pettington's the first driver. He's starting in 5th with hard tires. It doesn't look like anybody tried to set a time on softs. Now it did look like a couple of guys had done some installation laps on the soft tires to see what it was like. So here we go for the formation lap. And Matthew Collins picking up a second pole position of the year. His first one was back in Japan at his debut at round 12, where he came home with the win. Can he do it again today? We will certainly find out here shortly. Jack Yates, currently third in the point standings, looking to win today and capitalize on a bad start by his teammate and championship contender Kevin Harrison. Harry Cooper starting in third. He's got 4 podiums on the year. He's going to be looking to add a 5th to it for sure. And last year's Formula 1 champion here in IRL is going to be starting in the 4th position. He'll be looking to make a strong debut here at F2. We know he's got the speed. Eric Pettington, going to be interesting to watch his strategy, starting from 5th on the hard tires. We know he's very quick. 3 wins and a second place credit to his 3 wins and a second place finish to his credit this year so far. Currently running 4th in points. And Jared Fosbury, another championship points contender, not a great qualifying effort by him. He'll be disappointed with his starting spot here in 6th. He'll be right behind Eric Pettington. See if he can work his way through the field. Shay Fox, who had a good qualifying effort, or so he thought until the last minute of qualifying. He proved to have some speed. He'll be starting 7th and be looking to finish in the points today. Reza Varuz, that's Wei Lu from Norway. He'll be looking to capitalize on a good, strong debut round at Japan, where he came home 6th. He'll be starting 8th today, looking to be finishing in the points today. And Steph Christensen's going to be in the factory Renault. He'll be starting in 9th spot. He'll be looking to finish in the points as well. And Kevin Harrison. Harrison has a knack for starting deep in the field and finishing up front. He runs alternate pit strategies. It's been very good and paid off for him a lot of times this year, especially in the wet weather. Can he work his way through the field and get to that podium spot and hang on to that championship points lead? Luis Wassman, who has struggled a bit this year, showed some speed a few rounds ago at Australia, but unfortunately he hasn't been able to put together a good, clean race and a finish. He's suffered from some bad luck. And speaking of bad luck, Paco Suarez starting in 12th position. He has struggled all season. And without the help of his teammate, Adrian Storm, who has retired, he'll be looking to try and work his way into the points and finish this race. So 5 red lights. And the lights are out. Time to run what you brung their way in a puff of smoke. And it's a drag race down the front stretch. Venom gets a good start. And here comes Harry Cooper on the outside of Jack Yates. And Felix Negwer is going to look and try to capitalize, make a move to the inside. Yates is pushing Cooper all the way to the outside, but he's going to be able to take that spot and hang on to it. Got a lot of shuffling going on in the back. You've got Eric Pettington there. Oh, we've got a car off. And that was the Williams of Wei Lu. He's gotten into the grass, and he's all the way back to the back of the field now. Got a lot of shuffling going on here. This is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Looks like that is Pettington all the way to the inside now. Pettington trying to hold up a hard-charging Shay Fox here on the opening lap. And finally, there's a little bit of single file. Looks like Suarez goes very wide coming out of that corner. May have had a little bit of air wash, lost the front end. Oh, and what is this? Suarez dives deep into the inside, pushes the Red Bull wide, and around goes Suarez, and I don't know what that was. Looks like Suarez and Shay Fox got into a little bit of a tussle there, and Suarez pays the ultimate price. It looks like Suarez may have tried to do a retaliatory move there, and it cost him some time, and whatever had happened between him and Shay at the corner before, that may have been why he ran so wide. So Suarez, his bad luck continues, and it looks like that might have been hopefully that was the pylon at the corner there that went flying and not some wing damage. And a couple of guys running very wide back there. It looks like Luis Wassman in 9th went very wide coming out of that last corner. So Matthew Collins leads the first lap. Jack Yates currently running in 2nd. We've got the battle here for 3rd. This is Harry Cooper with Felix Negwer and Jared Fosbury. And Negwer is in the middle of a McLaren sandwich here. And Fosbury looking to the inside of Negwer. Thought about it. Not going to make it move there. And even the guys on the live chat are chiming in about the move that Paco made. We've also got Jeremy Pope joining us here on the live chat. Good to see him. Haven't seen him on the track for quite some time. Jeremy does do F3. He also does Gran Turismo Sport, and hopefully he'll be participating in the IMSA series here for International Racing League, which will kick off next week on January 11th. We'll talk about more about that here in a little bit, but right now we're watching this battle for third. It's a three-car battle. Matthew Collins is checked out, though. Collins has pulled a 1 second gap over Jack Yates, so Yates will be out of DRS range. And Negwer really closed up the gap there. It looks like Yates is losing a little bit of time to Harry Cooper, so we're about to have a four-car battle for this second spot here. Uh-oh, looks like we've got some... Heard the crowd make us noise, so it looks like Steph Christensen looks like he lost a couple of spots there. And Luis Wassman trying to make a move. This is on Shay Fox. Fox trying to get back around on Wassman here. Trying to hold on. Meanwhile, we've still got this four-car battle raging on here for the second spot. This is Jack Yates. He's being pursued by Harry Cooper, who's being pursued by Felix Negwer, who's in turn being chased by Jared Fosbury. And actually, second through seventh are all within DRS range of each other, so there's a little bit of a break between Kevin Harrison, who has managed to work his way up into sixth. But the DRS is going to be enabled, so Negwer now looking to make a move here. This is on Harry Cooper. This is for the third spot, all the way to the inside. Hard on the brakes. Big lock up there by Jack Yates in the Alfa Romeo, and Negwer's going to make the move on Cooper. Oh, but it was a little bit of an oversteer as he cuts across the track. But Negwer manages to pick up the spot. Matthew Collins just at the fastest lap out in front of everybody, 136.184. Cooper trying to get that spot back. And Cooper dives to the inside here at turn one, so the battle raging on here for the third spot. Oh, and there's a little bit of a bump there. Oh, and he runs wide. Now is Cooper going to let Fosbury go by? Could there be some team, I don't want to say team orders, but maybe some partnership here between the McLarens, as Cooper is not in the championship points fight. But Jared Fosbury is. Cooper not giving up that fourth spot, though. Fosbury does look to be the quicker car. Looks like Shay Fox and Luis Wassman still battling it out for the eighth spot. That was a great move by Shay Fox around the outside of Wassman. This is a three-car battle for the eighth spot as this rages on. Meanwhile, back towards the front, we've still got the three-car battle for third. And really, it looks like Felix Negwer is actually closing the gap into Jack Yates just a little bit. He's going to have the DRS now. He's got a big run coming down towards the end here, 210 miles an hour before he slams on the brakes, dives to the inside of Jack Yates. Yates going to lose out on the move, and Felix Negwer takes second spot. Great move by Felix Negwer. Yates going to try and come back. Yates will have the DRS this time. Not close enough to make a move as they head into turn one. Now, I will say this about Harry Cooper. Harry Cooper makes a lot of time in that 1-2 section. A lot of the guys struggle with some understeer, and it's hard to get back on the power. Cooper has made up a lot of time the last couple of laps in those two corners. And we've got Brandon Glover chiming in on the live chat as well, watching this race. Looks like he might be here rooting on Lewis as well, or Felix, I should say. So good to have Brandon Glover with us. He's one of the administrators for IRL, so it's definitely a pleasure to have him with us watching this race. You see this three-car battle, four-car battle rage on here. No big separation right now. The largest gap between anything up here towards the front is going to be Matthew Collins walking away with a 2.6 second lead over Felix Negwer. And right now, Harry Cooper, we're looking at the back of his car, but we want to look out the front. Not going to be close enough to make a move, and nobody's going to be close enough to make a move on him. Here comes Eric Pettington. Looks like he's trying to get around Jared Fosbury, and Fosbury's going to lose out that position. So Eric Pettington looking to be a spoiler today in today's race. Oh no, and Fosbury has gone around. He tried to get back on the power too soon, lost it on the curbs, and he's into the barrier. And Fosbury is going to be shaking his head. He'll be very frustrated with himself after that. He's got wing damage on the right front end plate. Is gone. So he'll have to move to an alternate strategy. He's going to suffer here through turns 1 and 2. We just talked about how much understeer that cars have going through here to begin with. Meanwhile, we're going to jump back to this battle here. This is 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. This is Felix Negwer being hunted by Jack Yates. Yates going to try and get his position back. Harry Cooper, the lone McLaren at the front now, as Jared Fosbury made a huge mistake at the last corner. And Eric Pettington now caught up with this battle here. Meanwhile, Kevin Harrison has quietly worked his way into 6th. He's been here all day. He started 10th. Worked his way into the 6th by lap 2, and he's been there ever since. And Negwer's pulled a little bit of a gap. It's a little bit over half a second now to Jack Yates. Pettington's going to be really close to making a move here on the hard tire. See if he can take another McLaren. 2 laps in a row. Pettington's going to take a McLaren, pushes him a little bit wide, tries to dive it back in. So great racing here, working lap 7 of 28. Meanwhile, the battle for 7th, this is Luis Wassman and Shay Fox. This battle has been going on lap after lap after lap. Now, this was a battle for 9th until Jared Fosbury made his mistake, so everybody got to gain a little bit of a spot. So Fosbury has gone in and pitted and is coming back out. He'll be on medium tires, have a fresh front wing. Actually, it looks like he's out on the hard tires. Yeah, he's coming out on the hards. He's going to try and make a very long run here. Lap 7 of 28 on hard tires. That'll be... Whoa, look at Cooper, runs very wide. Trying to keep the power down to that sweeping right-hander. Got some aero wash off of the Eric Pettington's Renault. Lost the front end. Went very wide there. And Jack Yates tries to poke his head out. Not going to face Felix Negwer. Negwer running a great race so far. Meanwhile, Matthew Collins has pulled out to a 4+ second lead over this group here. And while these 4 cars have battled on, Kevin Harrison is starting to close the gap into them. It is now down to 2.5 seconds. I'm sorry, 2.8 seconds. Oh, and Pettington to the inside. Oh no, Felix Negwer's left the session. What has happened to Felix Negwer? Running in second. Does he have internet issues? He's left the session. Means his car is going to go AI. This is bad news for Felix Negwer and some of the other drivers here too, because they may not know that he's left the session. There's no ghosting here in International Racing League, as there shouldn't be. So now it's a 3-car battle, because ultimately the AI car will be slower than these 3. And all 3 of these cars are going to be close enough to get DRS. Can Negwer, if he's having internet issues, can he get back online and retake possession of this car and pick up where he left off? This is bad news, and Harrison's still closing that gap. Harrison's now 2.3 seconds back. You see Pettington to the inside, and it says Felix Negwer has joined Can he retake possession of that car? Because here comes Jack Yates. DRS slot open. Some drama here on lap 8. And here comes Yates all the way to the inside. And he may not know. I don't know if Felix has got control of that car yet or not. He's going to push Felix wide. So we'll see what's going on here. And the DRS slot open on the Ferrari of Felix Negwer. Here comes Eric Penton on Harry Cooper. Cooper takes the more defensive line. Negwer back to the inside. Looks like Negwer may have taken possession back of the car. Dives all the way to the inside. They're side by side heading through turn 1. Yates is going to have the more preferred line as they head into turn 2. A little bit of argy-bargy as they bump shoulders and rub wheels. And all the way to the outside, Negwer's going to get pushed wide. And Negwer's left the session again, so he's battling. And Jack Yates back to the inside. Negwer is having internet issues, and his car is putting up a fight. And back to the inside goes Negwer, goes and pushes him, gives him a little bit of a shoulder check. This is unbelievable racing by an AI car. Here comes Eric Penton to the outside of Jack Yates, and he's going to dive to the inside. He's going to push Yates wide. Yates is going to be upset about that. He's lost the position while battling an AI car. And now Negwer, can Negwer get back in and get back into this fight? His car is still holding the second spot. And while all this is happening, Matthew Collins is pulled out to 6.5 seconds. We look out the back, you see Harry Cooper now. Cooper's going to have the DRS. He's going to be all over the back of Jack Yates. And here comes Kevin Harrison. Harrison is starting to close in this gap to this battle. Penton to the inside. It's going to go by Felix Negwer's Ferrari. Oh, but look at this, the front. Here comes Cooper. Cooper dive bombs, tries to get a 2-for-1 deal. Pushes the Ferrari and Jack Yates wide. Unbelievable racing. And now Kevin Harrison has picked up on this battle, and Harrison is going to be all over the back of the Ferrari of Felix Negwer. Negwer has gone from 2nd to 5th in just a matter of a lap. And Cooper and Yates battling it out. Cooper trying to stick with them. He knows he can get the more preferred line if he can be there. Cooper's been very good through that 1-2 complex. Felix Negwer has rejoined this race once again. Going to try and take possession of that car. And Jack Yates cuts that corner just a little bit. Here comes Kevin Harrison. There's a 4-car battle for one spot. Felix Negwer joining and disbanding and joining and disbanding again. It's been back and forth with his internet. Felix Negwer's car is putting up a heck of a fight. And now Negwer may have possession of that car as he's trying to hold off Kevin Harrison. Harrison's going to have the more preferred line heading into the next corner. And Harrison takes the spot. That is for 5th. So now Felix Negwer has gone from 2nd to 6th. In a matter of a lap and a half, Eric Penton has now pulled out a gap, 2.3 seconds over Jack Yates, who is still trying to fend off Harry Cooper. And now everything has settled just for a moment here on lap 10, and the pit window is going to start to open here in the next couple of laps. And Cooper, very aggressive on the brakes at the end of that hairpin last lap. Does it again. And he gets a good run out of that last corner. He's going to throw open that DRS slot and see if he can get a good run down into turn 1. Turn 1 and 2 is where Cooper's been strongest all day. To the outside. He's going to try a crossover move, get back to the inside. He's going to get right next to him, but look at this. Yates is going to have the more preferred line. And Kevin Harrison stalking in his rear view mirror. And now it's an Alfa Romeo sandwich with a piece of McLaren meat in the middle. 3-car battle now for 3rd. Meanwhile, the battle that hasn't quit has been Luis Wassman and Shay Fox. These two are running within 0.6 of each other, and they're actually catching the battle for 3rd as these guys have gone back and forth multiple times now. Felix Negwer is all the way down into 10th. He's on hard tires. Did he make a pit stop? Felix Negwer did make a stop. This has been some unbelievable racing. A little bit has settled here for the moment. So as they run, Matthew Collins out in front, being pursued 6+ seconds back is Eric Penton. We're watching this battle. This has been Jack Yates, Harry Cooper, and Kevin Harrison, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Shay Fox currently running in 6th, trying to hold off a hard-charging Luis Wassman. These two have swapped positions multiple times today. Paco Suarez quietly running in 8th after his bottle early on in the race. And you see Wassman has gotten around Shay Fox. Fox dives into the pits. And Steph Christensen quietly running in the 9th position. Felix Negwer, we know what's been going on with him. Internet issues. We saw Jared Fosbury, a huge mistake on the last corner a few laps ago, running in 11th. And Razor Varuz, that's Wei Lu in the 12th position. And we've got a couple guys starting to make their pit stops. So we go back to this battle here. This is 3rd, 4th, and 5th as it continues. Unbelievable driving from some of these guys. What a turn of events for Felix Negwer, unfortunately. I don't know what kind of internet that boy's got, but he's going to have to get that fixed if he wants to be a contender. Unfortunately for him, he's now back in 8th. And Shay Fox has come out of the pits. Shay Fox making up a little bit of time on Negwer, currently running in the 9th spot. So it's going to come down to this. All three of these guys. Here comes Harry Cooper. Harrison's the only one in this battle here running on hard tires, so looks like he can wait for the other two to make a pit stop. Harrison trying to make a move, though, on Cooper. And it looks like Cooper, and look at that. Just as I say it, Yates and Cooper into the pits. So Kevin Harrison is going to move into the 3rd spot. Luis Wassman moves up into 4th. So things are definitely going to get separated here for just a moment. Looks like Cooper is out, and so is Yates. So Yates will just beat him out. They're both on the hard tire, so they'll both make a run towards the end here. And look at this, Felix Negwer almost trying to be a part of this battle. He's got Shay Fox with him, so 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th now, 4-car battle. Looks like Jared Fosbury picked up a spot there. He's now managed to work his way back into the points through the pit sequence. And Fosbury is going to be shaking his head at the end of this day. Very rare mistake from last year's F2 champion here in IRL. He's defending champion, trying to be a part of that championship battle. So Harry Cooper trying to get to the back of Jack Yates. So really the only saving grace Jared Fosbury has at this point is if his teammate Harry Cooper can get ahead of some of these other championship contenders, Jack Yates, Kevin Harrison, and try and make them drop a position to maybe do a little bit of damage control as far as the points. And it looks like Matthew Collins finally pits, and he'll be switching over to the hards. He'll run those all the way to the end. That's going to give the lead up to Eric Penton and Kevin Harrison in 2nd. Those two running 1-2 on the hard compounds. They have yet to make a pit stop. Neither is Luis Wassman, who has quietly worked his way into 3rd. Good run today. He's been battling it out with Shay Fox for the first half of this race. Right now running all by his lonesome, so if he can put in some quick lap times. You see Paco Suarez just ran the fastest lap of the day at a 1:35.543. So Paco showing he's still got speed in the car. He just had a string of bad luck and some bad decisions this year. Meanwhile, Cooper all over the backside of Jack Yates, and this is now turning into a pretty heated battle here. So it looks like Felix Negwer has joined this battle as well. Shay Fox, not that far off of it. Good run for Shay. And I got to give him a little bit of a shout out since he's Shay Fox, not KAMIKAZE-FOX. So Shay looking to have a good run for sure. DRS slots will be open. We'll hop on board here. You can see the miles per hour there on the screen, 203 it looked like before he slams on the brakes. So he's running a little bit more drag than some of the other guys, it looks like. Negwer had a good run down that backstretch with the DRS. And now Negwer is to the inside. Trying to make a move on the McLaren here of Harry Cooper. To the outside now. DRS slot open. Cooper's going to try and... Nope, he's not going to be able to hold him off. Negwer goes around the outside into turn 1, picks up the 5th spot. So Negwer has gained repossession of that car, and he's looking to try and work his way back through the field. Currently running in 5th. Luis Wassman did make his pit stop, comes out behind Shea Fox in 8th. Matthew Collins back into 3rd. We're still waiting on Eric Pettington and Kevin Harrison to make their pit stops. And that would ultimately hand the lead back over to Matthew Collins. But the battle we're really interested in here is this 3-car battle. Now, Jack Yates has been able to gap this battle here by 1.5 seconds. We've got Felix Negwer in the Ferrari. We've got Harry Cooper in the McLaren, and then Shea Fox in the Red Bull. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Not sure who that would be. Don't see anybody losing a position. Now we've got flags in Sector 2 and 3. Look at the back of the McLaren of Harry Cooper. Whoa, big time on the brakes. Shea Fox almost plows into the back end of Harry Cooper. Cooper went deep on the brakes to Felix Negwer. And Cooper now going to have the DRS slot open. He's going to try and make a move. Nope, doesn't even think about it. And Paco Suarez. Ooh, 3-car battle here. We pick up Suarez and Jared Fosbury. And it looks like Suarez just spun Jared Fosbury. That may have been... I see he lost his front wing. So Fosbury... I got to say... That looks like the second incident today by Suarez that was very intentional. I'm sure that will be reviewed by the stewards after this race, both instances. But Suarez, I think the frustration of this season is finally starting to come to a boil. And he's taking his frustrations out on some of these other drivers. Fosbury is one of the cleanest drivers I know. If there was an incident, I'm sure there wasn't any malice there. But it looks like whatever happened, Suarez did lose his front wing and decided to try and take it out on Fosbury. Meanwhile, we're going to head back to this 3-car battle for the 5th spot. And it looks like Jack Yates has been able to gap this battle now 2.3 seconds. Now Shea Fox and Harry Cooper got DRS. Cooper very deep on the brakes. Shea Fox is going to try and make a move to the inside. Cooper gets the power down a little bit better than Fox does coming out of that corner, though. But Cooper almost outbraked himself, and he runs very wide. And Luis Wassman quietly running in 8th is closing up on this battle. Luis Wassman just ran the fastest lap at a 1:35.117. Now, Cooper's been real good through this section here all race. You see how close he can get to Negwer's car. He gets right up on the gearbox of that Ferrari. Shea Fox now going to try and look to make a move. Jump on the old bumper cam here. And it looks like Cooper's able to get that power down coming out of those tight corners a lot better than Fox is. Fox looks like he's running a little bit less drag, and he's a little harder on the brakes than Cooper. So a couple different driving styles there and a couple different setups. It's definitely making for some interesting racing. Negwer just trying to hold these two off. Oh, and Harry Cooper goes around! All by himself, Harry Cooper. What has happened to him? And it is a bad day for Team McLaren. Harry Cooper all by his lonesome with a sweeping right-hander, loses the back end. So that's a little bit of a relief for Felix Negwer. That's one less car he's got to worry about, and Shea Fox is just outside of DRS range. And now 10 laps to go, and as I say that, Fox gets a good run coming out of that last corner, does get the DRS advantage. He's going to sweep it into turn 1. And he actually managed to make up a lot of ground heading into turn 1. He took that very fast. And Shea Fox, he's not able to get that power down, but he's closed up to half a second in that DRS and 1-2 complex there. So good for Shea Fox, putting in a good drive here. There's something to be said when you're battling it out with a former F1 champion. You can hang tough with him here in your debut race. Look at those rotors glow as they head through the corner. And Paco Suarez sets the fastest lap at a 1:34.986. That may be inconsequential towards the end of this race, though. And now the DRS slot open. There it is, slots open on the Red Bull. Here comes Shea Fox. Closing up the back end of the Ferrari. We thought about it, but looks like he was a little less aggressive on the brakes that time than he has been in the past. He might be saving his move for this 1-2 complex up here. He was really good through 1 and 2 here last time by. Sails it in. Felix runs a little wide here. A little bit of aero wash coming off of there. Low downforce. Already hard enough to make these corners. A lot of understeer built in these corners here. This has been a crazy race for some of these guys. And this is your closest battle on track. Really your only battle on track right now. Everybody else is separated quite a bit now at this point. It's taken 19 laps to make it happen, but there's finally some separation between the cars. And your top 2 front runners, Eric Pittington and Kevin Harrison, have yet to pit, running a very long first stint. I'm interested to see when they pit, who's going to switch over to what, because one can switch over to mediums, one can switch over to softs. They both can switch over to the same thing. Negwer runs very wide coming out of that corner. We hop on board again. This is a good run by Shea Fox. He's going to be a little bit closer this time with the DRS slot open. Over 200 miles an hour here at the end of this backstretch. And he's going to be hard onto the brakes. He gets up beside him. And here comes the Red Bull. He's going to push Negwer wide a little bit. Negwer gets a good run coming out of the corner. And Negwer's going to be all over the back of this. And ooh. Look at this. Luis Watsman is actually starting to catch this battle. Luis wants to be a part of it. And now Negwer back to the inside. He's going to sail it down hard. He's going to do a good old-fashioned NASCAR slide job. Comes right up in front of him heading into turn 1. Great move by Felix Negwer to take that position back. And that is my son clapping for the Ferrari of Felix Negwer. Great move by Negwer to take that spot back. That's a good old-fashioned South NASCAR slide job if I've ever seen one. And here comes Luis Watsman. You see that Racing Point starting to pop into view here. He's 1.4 seconds off in this battle. And look at that, look at the livery on that helmet for that Red Bull. This Shea Fox, very unique livery. You could just about see him from space with that green tank on there. And again, Fox is going to be looking to the inside here, all over the gearbox of Felix Negwer. And here comes Luis Watsman. Watsman's now going to be a part of this battle. He's going to have the DRS advantage as well. It's now turned into a 2-car battle. It's now a 3-car battle for 5th. You look out the back of the Red Bull. And you look out the front of the Red Bull. Oh my goodness, and it looks like rain is starting to come down. Rain is starting to come down here at Shanghai. Oh, to the outside. Negwer takes the more defensive line. Crossover move by Fox. No, and the back end comes around. The back end comes out and he gets a little bit of help from Luis Wassman. Now, is that because of the rain? Here comes the McLaren of Harry Cooper. Is that because the track's wetter and you get on the power too soon? And Shea Foxy had such a good thing going. And now, the top two front runners. This is Eric Penton in the lead. Kevin Harrison in second. They have run hard tires from the start of this race. Kevin Harrison is a master at race strategy when it comes to wet weather races. He is going to run these tires all the way to the point where he's going to need intermediates or wets, and it's going to pay off for him again. Kevin Harrison picked up his first win this year due to a same strategy like this. Unbelievable run by the top two front runners. Matthew Collins is going to be the guy that's not going to luck out of this at all. Had the race stayed dry, he would have taken the lead over the pit sequence. But if the rain starts coming down hard enough, they're going to have to switch over to intermediates. So the great equalizer starting to show its ugly face. You see the rain coming down. How long can these drivers go on slicks before this track is too wet? And while things have settled for just a minute, we're going to run down the running order. As you see the rain starting to come down a little bit harder. This is Eric Penton, followed by Kevin Harrison, Matthew Collins in third, Jack Yates in fourth, Felix Negwer in fifth, Luis Wassman up to sixth. Harry Cooper is now in seventh. Shea Fox back to eighth. Steph Christensen on his debut is currently running in ninth. And this is Wei Lu in 10th. Jared Fosbury, who has had a disastrous day, now running in 11th. And Paco Suarez, who's had a disastrous season, running in 12th. And Lewis Marshall chiming in on the live chat telling us about the tire strategy because the hard tires are probably falling way off at this point. And it looks like Eric Penton's going to be going around again. And on to the backstretch. We'll see if Eric Penton makes a pit stop this time by. No close battles on track, but the rain coming down. Easy on the throttle. A little bit of wheel spin. And Penton is going to head into the pit. So Penton's finally going to make his pit stop. What is he going to switch over to? And Kevin Harrison stays out on track. He's going to take the lead. And it looks like Penton's switching over to the intermediates. Harrison's going to stay out one more lap maybe. Oh, and it looks like Matthew Collins has dived into the pits. That means Jack Yates, he's staying out on track. Jack Yates is going to move into the third spot. You see the clouds have rolled in here as you look into the background there. And now we've got ourselves an Alfa Romeo 1-2, Kevin Harrison, Jack Yates. This is bad news bears for Jared Fosbury all day long. Fosbury running outside of the points at this point. And Fosbury needs some good luck to come his way. Cooper dives into the pits. That's going to hand over the 8th spot to Steph Christensen. Felix Negwer stays out. He is up into the 4th spot. He's got Luis Wassman behind him, but Wassman looks like he's struggling with grip now. And it looks like it's getting a little slick out there at this point. Wassman struggling with some grip in the car. Oh, big time. Look at that. Can he save it? Can he save it? Locks it up. Wassman goes around. He keeps the rear tires. Oh, no. Here comes the other racing point. Oh, and they crash together. Oh, my goodness. Luis Wassman and Matthew Collins. Unbelievable. And that's a 5-second penalty. And here comes Shea Fox. He's still on hard tires as well, and he dives to the inside, gets a 2-for-1. Fox moves into 5th spot, and the teammates collide together. Unbelievable. Oh, my goodness, what a turn of events for the Racing Point team. Collins was on such a good run today. Unbelievable. This race has been ridiculous with some of the things that have happened. And Wassman, he's still on the gas. He's still on the gas. He's going to try and dive it down into the hairpin. He's all over the gearbox of the Red Bull of Fox. I don't know why he would be doing that. He's got to pit. His tires are not going to hold up. This has been crazy, and Fox stays out. And it looks like Collins is going to stay out. So Collins is going to stay out. He's got massive wing damage. He's on intermediates. This has been unbelievable. And now Kevin Harrison is on lap 24 of 28 on hard tires. Lewis, verify something for me if you can. It's raining. He hasn't changed his tires. Does he have to change to a different compound, or does he have to change in intermediates? Can he stay the whole stint on the hard tires? Is that allowed? And I wait to get confirmation from Lewis on the live chat, because he'll have all the answers. I should have thought about it. I should have put him in the booth with me today. He's a good guy to have in the booth. His race strategy and his car knowledge is very good when it comes to these F1 games. So I'm hoping he'll have the right answer for me. And DRS is disabled, so it's raining too hard for DRS at this point. And he does clarify, he needs to pit once in a race if he starts on dry tires, and they did in fact start on dry. So if they start on wets or intermediates, then that rule gets thrown out the window. And Harrison is going to finally come into the pits. He is going to give up probably at least 2 positions, maybe 3. So here comes Eric Penton. That's going to be the first position. Jack Yates, who said that this track is one of my worst, is going to be coming across the line here to take second spot. And Harrison is just now into the pit. So where is Shea Fox? Oh, Fox is finally going to make his pit stop. He hasn't pitted yet either. So here comes Felix Negwer. Negwer is going to be able to jump a couple of positions here. So Negwer is going to finally get back into the 4th spot. We saw Matthew Collins finally dive back into the pits and thought, I cannot drive with all this wing damage. So Harry Cooper will move up. So the running order is going to get shuffled again. We see somebody else dive into the pits. That was Wei Lu. He dives into the pits. So Wassman, who was the one that got T-boned, is now back into the 7th spot behind his, it's got to be said, his arch nemesis this whole race has been Shea Fox. So go figure, he's behind Shea Fox. So unbelievable race, guys. 4 laps to go, 3.5. Jared Fosbury finally going to work his way back into the points after this has all been said and done, trying to do damage control in what has been a disastrous race. One incident was his, oh no, now Wei Lu is retired from the session, and there's his car. It looks like he's gone off and possibly into the barrier back across the track. So a little bit of a gift there from Wei Lu. I'm sorry, that was Matthew Collins, not Wei Lu. Matthew Collins, who was having such a good run. So Fosbury's going to move into 9th. And now this is where the race is going to get interesting, because the rain is coming down fairly heavy at this point. Only a few laps left to go. I don't think anybody's going to make a pit stop to try and switch over to full wets. You would just lose too much time. So now this is really going to become a race of attrition if these guys can keep it on the track. I think over the course of the next couple of laps, the guys that make the fewest mistakes are going to be the ones to capitalize on this. See Penton still downshifting really high into that rev range. And Kevin Harrison with another masterful strategy to come home once again and with a podium position. Jack Yates, Team Alfa Romeo, has been unstoppable this year. These 2 drivers have just been on point this whole season. So your running order is Eric Penton, 5 seconds behind him is Kevin Harrison. Jack Yates running in third. Felix Negwer, who's literally had an up-and-down race as far as the positioning goes, and with his internet issues, works his way into fourth spot. So last year's F1 champion, able to get back to where he should be. I get a feeling he could have really made a run for the first position today had he not had internet issues. Harry Cooper running in fifth. Shay Fox with a very interesting race. Good for him to be running in the sixth spot. Battled it out. Luis Wassman has been up and down as well, and backwards and sideways, and everything else and everything in between, but he is currently running in the seventh spot. Steph Christensen on his debut in the factory Renault, running in the eighth spot, and we talked about Jared Fosbury, currently running in ninth. His day has been disastrous, to say the least. Wei Lu is running in 10th, and rounding out your 11th driver, or still running, is going to be Paco Suarez, who has had a very uncharacteristic type day. There will definitely be some investigating into Paco's incidences after this race, I'm sure of it. And then rounding out your 12th driver will be Matthew Collins, who had such a good run going earlier in this race. He led the race from the start all the way to the first pit sequence. Unfortunately, had a little bit of a hard time with the dry setup in the wet conditions and on the tires, so Eric Pettington working on his fourth win of the season. And I said earlier he could definitely be a spoiler in today's race. Every race he's been in, he's almost finished on the podium. He's got one DNF to his credit, so he's batting 800 right now. And Kevin Harrison, unbelievable season so far for Harrison. The race strategies that this guy has run, especially in the wet conditions, has really proven to be amazing. He's definitely a rainmeister. His first win, I think, was back in Mexico in the rain. No, that was not Mexico. No, that was Kevin Harrison's first podium of the year, so that's what that was. Kevin Harrison's first podium was back in round 3 in Mexico in the wet. Eric Pettington did win that race. So Harrison, your championship points leader, he's going to be able to extend on that lead, finishing second today. He'll be finishing ahead of his teammate Jack Yates. And Yates is going to be able to catapult Fosbury, I think, in the points. It would actually be very close. Yeah, he would take over the second spot in the championship point stand. He's got a yellow flag in Sector 3. Not sure who that is, but Jack Yates would move into second. He would have he'd be 180 points versus 178 for Jared Fosbury. Actually, no, because Fosbury's 9, so they might actually be tied for second in the point standings. So Eric Pettington quietly coming around the sweeping right-hander one last time down the backstretch of what has been an unbelievable race. Short on car count does not mean short on action, and today was action-packed for most part from beginning to the end. Last few laps here got a little bit quiet here with the rain, and the guys finally switching over to the intermediates, but what a day for Eric Pettington. He's going to come home with his fourth win of the season. He'll be followed by Kevin Harrison with another podium finish to extend on his championship points lead. Jack Yates heading out of the hairpin. And it looks like Felix Negwer is trying to make up some time on him, but he's not going to be close enough. So Jack Yates comes home with another podium position this year. He started off the season with a string of podium finishes, and here comes Felix Negwer across the finish line for fourth. And Harry Cooper, the Flying Cooper, comes across in the fifth spot. And Shay Fox with a great run today. He'll come across in sixth. He'll be followed by Luis Wassman, just as he was most of the race. Wassman with a good, strong run today.
Steph Christensen on his debut coming across the line in 8th. Good outing for him. Jared Fosbury will be coming across the line in 9th, and I'm sure he's got some choice words for Paco Suarez. And Wei Lu comes across in 10th. And Suarez is way behind here as he comes down the backstretch. I'll give props to him for sticking with the race and finishing it. He didn't rage quit. So there you have it. That is your final finisher of today's race. Matthew Collins will be credited with 12th and a DNF, unfortunately. So we've got some radio chatter going on behind the scenes right now, but Pettington with another win. And an avatar that doesn't look like a small Chinese woman, so that's a nice change of pace as well. So unofficial results for today's race one last time. Eric Pettington, Kevin Harrison, Jack Yates, Felix Negwer, Harry Cooper, Shay Fox, Luis Wassman, Steph Christensen, Jared Fosbury, Wei Lu, Paco Suarez, and Matthew Collins rounding out today's 12 drivers. And I'm going to try and get those top 3 in here for some interviews if anybody wants to stick around, so hang tight. Also want to try and get Jared Fosbury in here as well, since he is technically top 3 for championship point standings. We have Eric Pettington joining us today.
Hello. Do I have to invite everybody else? Do you have everybody else friends?
I do not. I would need Yates and Harrison to interview.
Okay, one moment. Just players, and then we can...
And I wanted to get Jared in here as well, since he is technically top 3 in the points, and after what can only be described as a frustrating race. But let's pick it up here with Eric Pettington. Eric, another win on the season. You've proven that you're very fast. You've had a win in just about every race you've participated in. Was your strategy from the start to start on the hard tires, and did you think you would start that deep in the field after qualifying?
My strategy was, first of all, congratulations for all the top 3, and great fight in the end with what's his name, Kevin. But yeah, my strategy was to start with hards, because I looked at the weather in a qualifying that plus 45 minutes rain in the end of the race. So I thought if I can do 23 laps with hards, I can switch to intermediate and everybody pitting, which gives me a pit stop. But yeah. It was my plan all along to do that strategy. Nice to win. Last race I did was, I think, 1 month ago. So I've only done like 5 races, and I think, or 6 races and 4 wins. So I'll gladly take it. And unfortunately, next 2 weeks or next week I'm off again in basketball. So somebody else can win.
Yeah, that is 6 races this year for Eric Pettington. That's 4 wins, a second-place finish, and 1 DNF. So the stats are very good for him. And then we've got Kevin Harrison. Kevin, a lot can be said about your strategies you've used this year. You have capitalized on wet weather specifically. Was this your strategy all along? You qualified very poorly, and you were able to work your way through the field. Was that the plan?
Yeah. Hards, and then I was going to bring them as long as possible, and I did. I mean, the last time that I checked my tires, they were like 73, and then I had to do like 4 more laps after that. So they could have been like 80%, so like I could have easily got a puncture, but I didn't, so that was nice. And then, yeah, Hards to inters and made it work. And then at the end I was catching Eric, but not.
Yeah, I have to say, Kevin, you're the best Wayne driver who I've ever saw. Like, I was pushing so much with overtaking hot lap. I was like, how the hell this guy's catching me by 1 second? That's like, yeah, I just want to say you're a really good Wayne driver. Maybe the best in this league.
Yeah, thank you.
And do we have Jack with us?
Yeah.
Jack, you had talked all week about how China is one of your worst tracks, and clearly you came out and it doesn't look like it was one of your worst tracks. Would you say you were better in the dry, or was the wet a benefit to get you to that 3rd place finish?
It made no difference.
4 whole words, wow.
Fake Finnish, talking like Finn. Nice.
Okay.
The original Finn is talking like a British person. This is comedy show.
Well, Jack, that puts you and Jared, who we also have with us now. You guys are both, looks like, tied for 2nd in the point standings. Jared, being in the top 3 in the points. Rough day for you. What would you say about the... looks like you made a mistake early on, and then it looks like you had some help in your 2nd incident.
Well, I just touched the curb, rear end just snapped, and I tried to save it, hit the wall. And then with the 2nd bit, I don't know what Paco was thinking. Apparently his throttle pedal was a bit messing up with him, and in my opinion, if his throttle pedal's messing up, he shouldn't have been racing on his wheel today. He should have gone on his pad, and he just deliberately took me out. But I can't be too bitter. I'm just tying. I'm still in this championship fight with Jack and Kevin. I'm tying with him on the points. But if I didn't get hit, I probably would have still been 2nd with a few more points, because I was catching Steph on the inters quite quickly. But GG to the top 3. They did well today. It was unfortunate what happened between me and Paco. But, you know, it's racing at the end of the day. It's annoying, but it happens.
Now, will there be... I don't know if you can speak on it or not, but will there be any type of investigation after the race due to what had happened, or?
Definitely. It'll be reported and sent to the admin, so it's just annoying.
Well, congratulations to the top 3 drivers, and congratulations to at least Jared for at least doing a little bit of damage control and capitalizing on what has been a bad day. At least get a couple of points on there and stay in the championship fight. So be sure to check us out. Are we racing next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the new calendar. January 12th, F2. That is going to be Spa-Francorchamps, so be sure to check us out next week there at Spa. Same IRL time, same IRL channel. Be sure to check us out online, internationalracingleague.com. And we have a Twitter, which is at F1_IRL.
That's
So
right.
guys, be sure to check us out on that as well. Congratulations to the top 3 for today. Another win for Eric Pettington. Unfortunately, he won't be here next week, so maybe somebody else can capitalize on his absence. See if Jared Fosbury can get back into that championship fight and make up for today's loss, and see if Kevin Harrison moves further up the chain, pushing that gap between 1st and 2nd in the points. Check it all out next week. We'll see you guys at the next round.